Hi, this is Katie with Empowering Astrology, and this is your weekly look at the astrology of May 4th to May 10th, 2020. Again, we're getting a little bit of a late start today because I've been doing my daily meditations, or rather hosting a daily meditation at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and we've been doing this for 8 weeks. So I really felt called during the, let's say, the beginning of the pandemic and the uncertainty of the pandemic to share my tools to get grounded and sort of kind of connected at this time. And so let me know how you're doing. I love that this is a international group. I know that you guys are in or the Netherlands. I know that you're in the UK. I know that you're in Australia. I know that you're in New Zealand. So do say hi. Let me know how you're doing. I really honestly hope that you're all staying safe. Again, yes, good morning from Australia. Well, good evening from New York City. I'm staying safe, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have a roof over my head, to have really wonderful clients such as yourself, whom I get to work with, and stay busy, keep food on the table, that sort of a thing. And I genuinely thank each and every one of you for being a part of my work and investing in my work, and also showing up during this time to share the astrology. It's the beginning of May. Like, what, what happened? I say this every week, but I mean, like 2 months ago, I was just coming back from Spain. It kind of felt like the doors where they're starting to close the doors on the world. And it was like, all right, everybody get to where you need to get to because you're not going to be able to go anywhere much longer. So I've been kind of grounded in New York City for the past 2 months, but I've been safe. And so I see that some of you are in the UK, then and the Canary Islands and Lanzarote, Australia, Arizona, here in the US. And we've seen a lot of changes in the astrology in the past couple of months. And that started in May, not May, it started in March. And we started to see some big changes in the world in March. So, May, here we are 2 months later, and we're seeing again sort of some big shifts happening, which I will talk to you in just a moment. We've got the lunar nodes that's switching this week. We've got a Scorpio full moon on May 7th. And I also want to use this opportunity to talk a little bit more about like why astrology. I'm only doing this because the more that I get outside of my astrology bubble and I get to talk to other people, I seem to be having this conversation recently where everybody's like, astrology, or really? You believe in that? And I'm like, but I really want to take a moment just to make sure we're both on the same page, is that astrology helps us to understand what time it is, both time in our own life, time on a collective scale, and that time is sort of set by your sun sign, and it's also set by something called your rising sign. So I know when you read my horoscopes, and by the way, my May horoscopes are live, so you can go read them after this broadcast. It tells us, it sort of sets the time of your life. And this is why I'll sometimes use this metaphor of like, where are the hands on the clock pointing right now? And those hands are planets. So we had a major shift in March when the Saturn hand on the clock started to point towards a new sign, aka a new hour for all of us. And how amazing is it that we have this language, this at least 5,000-year-old language, to tell us what time it is? And you know what? I don't know how it works or why it works. I mean, I have my feeling. I mean, in astrology, there's this phrase that's often said, as above, so below, meaning that what is happening on the heavens is also happening within us and around us, that we're all connected, whether it's on a cellular level, whether it's on a galactic level, that everything is sort of moving and we're all connected. Anyway, that's my little side note. And I've been doing astrology professionally for almost a decade. I've been interested in astrology for since I was a teenager, and I just saw how powerful it was as a timepiece for our life, but also as a therapeutic tool. So if you've worked with me, then you know that I really come from this positioning of using astrology for healing and transformation. Yes, that's my little soapbox moment. I have got 3 planets in Sagittarius, and I got Sagittarius rising, so I'm just using my Sagittarius moment. But let's talk about the astrology this week. And thank you for listening to why astrology. Why is astrology so important? It's yes, it goes beyond just like telling me about your personality. It's telling me about your internal DNA and how that like cosmic DNA helps connect you to the whole. And it's like, this is why I started a vlog last week, and it kind of came like a download to do it. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I named it Why We Need Astrology More Than Ever. Meaning, like right now, we barely know which way it's up. I barely know what day or month it is, and it's my job to know what day and month it is. And so it's really important right now that we know which way is up, which way is down, which way is north, which way is south. And good segue, because tomorrow, May 6th, God, it seems so weird to say May. Tomorrow, May 6th, the lunar nodes are going to change signs. So remember, I was saying that astrology tells us what time it is. It sort of points us in certain directions. Well, the lunar nodes, they're not planets. They are points in the sky that correlate with the ecliptic, where the moon sort of intersects with the ecliptic as it goes around the earth. Now, when you put those points into an astrological chart, you put them into what's called an ephemeris, you start to see the slow dance of these two opposite points across the zodiac. Now, they take 18 years to go around the zodiac, so they're one of those kind of slower moving influences. And since about May 2018, give or take, they've been in the signs of Cancer and Capricorn. So the lunar nodes are like the compass, the collective compass. Which way are we headed? It's also a personal compass. Where am I headed? Where are you headed? And depending on where, in this case, Cancer and Capricorn are in your chart, talks about where there's this evolutionary direction. The north node of the moon says, okay, which way is north? Which way are we headed? Which way, when the chips are down, we're kind of scared and upset, which way do we need to go? The south node, where have we been? What's our past? What's instinctual? And sometimes where do we get stuck? And where do we need to release and let go? And we've had the south node in Capricorn since 2018. So tomorrow there's this shift. Now, if the South Node in Capricorn means that we've had to do a lot of work, South Node, and like take kind of do our karmic homework, then that's been happening in the sign of structure, government, power, control. Capricorn as a sign, like on a bigger level, talks about responsibilities, the responsibilities we have in life and how we step up into those responsibilities. Capricorn, and this is not a criticism because I love you, Capricorn, it can be a heavy sign. It's a sign that's very much driven by duty and service on a kind of greater level. So things have been a little heavy the past couple of years with the South Node in Capricorn. We've had eclipses in Capricorn. Yes, the lunar nodes talk about where are the eclipses happening. When we have a new moon line up with the lunar node or a full moon line up with the lunar node, we have a solar or a lunar eclipse. And so when they're moving into Gemini and Sagittarius, we're moving away from kind of a little bit of the heaviness of Capricorn. Also, by the way, the North Node, having been in Cancer, has been pointing us towards home And we've literally been in our homes, at least a lot of us have been in our homes. I've been in my home, and over the past few months. And it just means that, like, on a collective level, we've needed Cancer. We've needed to get home. We've needed the nurturing. We've needed the care. We've needed the food. We've needed the softness of Cancer. Even before the pandemic, one of the themes that was coming through in my work, my client work, my writing, is how important it was to really connect with what we love right now. That we can't get stuck in doing Capricorn for the sake of Capricorn, whether it's a responsibility that we're just doing out of obligation to the point where we feel crushed. We have to really feed ourselves at this time. We have to nurture ourselves at this time. Well, that's shifting. Tomorrow, the North Node's going in Gemini. Now, if you know anything about astrology, Cancer and Gemini are two very different signs. They're next door to each other. The lunar nodes, by the way, go backwards through the zodiac, so Cancer to Gemini. Now, the North Node moving into Gemini means that we now need to head towards Gemini. What does that mean? We need movement, we need information, we need new ideas, we need to travel. I don't know what this means for restrictions and pandemic. I don't want to kind of speak to that too much, but it's very intriguing what might be going on in May. It also means that the eclipses are going to start to go into Gemini and its opposite sign of Sagittarius. And if you are a Gemini or a Sagittarius, you're thinking, oh, what does this mean for me? Well, it means that your life in 2020, 2021, and maybe even parts of 2022, I don't have my calendar close, you're going to see your life sort of go in a new direction. Just think back to 2020, sorry, not 2020, 2010 and 2010, 2011. That was the last time the nodes were in Gemini and Sagittarius, but they were flipped. The 9-year mark is the half of the cycle. So I would kind of, on your own, see what was going on in those years, because we're seeing a little bit of a repeat with the nodes and what the eclipses are going to be activated. As I record this, we're going to have a lunar eclipse in just 1 month. And that one is going to be at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. It's the first in a cycle of eclipses. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to have a solar eclipse on June 21st. That one is at 0 degrees of Cancer, so it's on the same day as the solstice. And then 2 weeks after that, we have the last in the series of eclipses at, I believe it's 15 or 13 Capricorn. I think it's 13 Capricorn. And that Cancer-Capricorn eclipses in June and July, that finishes out a story that began in 2018. And now we're on the cusp of beginning a new one. So this week, we might start to see some movement. We might start to see new ideas coming in. You know, there's a sense of evolution between the South Node and the North Node. The South Node in Sagittarius means that in every sign, by the way, has a trap. I'm not picking on Sagittarius, but Sagittarius's trap is where it thinks that it's right, to the point of getting stuck, to the point of it being a fault. So over the next 18 months, we all need to really examine if we are indeed right, because there's a lot of passion and conviction in the sign of Sagittarius. And sometimes we can put that passion and conviction behind things that can get us a little into tricky situations. We'll just put it that way. So we really need to open up our eyes and get new perspectives over the next 18 months. So that's a big shift. And when we go into June and July, of course, I'll kind of talk a little bit more about what these eclipses will mean, but we're not quite there yet. I will say that eclipses tend to manifest, they can come in about a month before or a month after. So we might start to see these eclipse stories come in May. And if you're just kind of jumping on the broadcast right now, I do have my May horoscopes are live on my website, empoweringastrology.com. So you can read all about your May what May is going to mean to you, because we do have not just the lunar nodes change signs. We have Saturn turning retrograde. We have Jupiter turning retrograde, Venus turning retrograde. Retrogrades are not bad. They're just sort of this shift in direction, the shift in sort of like, are we moving forward or are we moving back? Are we taking in, or are we having new experiences? And retrogrades are more of a yin energy phase, which means it's about taking in. It's not about pushing out. So we're going to see the celestial gear shifts in May, but that's a little bit into the middle of May. This week, we have a Scorpio full moon. So this full moon is on May 7th, and both here in the United States and also in Australia and New Zealand. So on May 7th at 6:45 a.m. New York City time, 3:45 a.m. Los Angeles, 11:45 a.m. London, 8:45 p.m. Sydney, and 10:45 p.m. Auckland. We're going to have a Scorpio full moon at 17 degrees. Now, full moons, they put things into light. There's a sense of urgency. We have to see things for what they really are. This, of course, is 2 weeks after the new moon that we had in Taurus at the end of April. I think it was the 24th. I can't remember if it was 24th or 26th. But sort of something that began at that Taurus new moon now comes to light, now comes to fruition. If we are a Scorpio, we're in the spotlight. If we are a Taurus, for example, this opposing sign, this is also really kind of putting some light on you as well. So Scorpio, if you don't know Scorpio, Scorpio is a sign that really wants to get to the heart of life and death. It's a sign of transformation. It's the sign that here, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, it coincides with late October and the first few weeks of November. Life is sort of coming to the end of its cycle. It's sort of preparing for winter. It's in a sense of transition. It's a sign that has one foot in life and one foot in something beyond. So if you are a Scorpio, you deeply know that life has cycles, that things eventually will come to an end. It's a sign that's very intuitive and very psychic. So even if you're not a Scorpio, this Scorpio full moon is putting a light on this sense of life and death. I know that the D word makes people nervous, but in a way, Scorpio makes us confront our mortality. It makes us confront that things have to transform, whether it's a metaphorical death, metaphorical resurrection and transformation. I mean, I say this as a Scorpio myself. So Scorpio is somewhere in our chart, which I'll go around the zodiac in a moment, and that part of our life really needs our transformation work. It really needs us to go deep within. There's just going to be times in our life when we have to face our fears, when we have to get uncomfortable, where we have to search within. I mean, certainly the pandemic is being that agent of transformation for many people. I've had some very interesting conversations over the last 8 weeks with clients and what this time means for them and what's coming up for them and what they want to do on the other side of this. So let's go around the zodiac. If you are an Aries, Scorpio is the part of your chart that really makes you want to look deep within. It's what's called your 8th house, your 8th sign. This is a time of deep transformation for you. Maybe you're having to face your own fears around mortality. Maybe there's a sense of that emotional material that comes with knowing that life has cycles, it has stages, it has beginnings, it has ends. It's a time when maybe you're having to have a really heart-to-heart talk with a friend, or needing to really share your experiences and there's a sense of with Scorpio in this part of your chart that you need to reveal something that's been hidden. So maybe it's an old secret, maybe it's an old trauma, but something wants to come out, much like, let's say, lancing an old wound. If you are a Taurus, Scorpio is your relationship sign. So this spotlight is putting, reversing my words, this full moon is putting a spotlight on relationships. So this is a time when your many relationships, not just your romantic relationships, are in the spotlight. The full moon kind of demands a sense of urgency. So if you are in a relationship, you might have to, deal with something, or you might have to really put your attention on your partner right now. It is a time when you're really being pushed to connect to people. I know that that might be a little difficult at the moment with restrictions and social distancing. So of course this can happen virtually. So really see who's coming in your life at this full moon. As Taurus, you're this sign that really kind of craves stability and trust and security, and you really love how a Scorpio is going to go deep with you. So really making sure you're getting nourished by really deep and powerful connections at this time. Moving on to Gemini, this is the part of your chart that talks about health and wellness and organizing your day and making sure your work and you're working on projects. And so this full moon is really making you take a look at how you take care of your body, how you take care of your health. Maybe you're needing to make some decisions about how you take care of your body, maybe to make a change in your diet, maybe prioritizing exercise. And certainly if we've been cooped up for a couple of months or had restricted exercise, like how do you bring that back in? So really focusing and prioritizing your health right now, Gemini. Also, you might hear some news about a project. You can also be prioritizing your emotional health as well as your physical health. Moving on to, everybody's like, Leo, please. I'm like, gotta go through the zodiac first. Moving on to Cancer. Cancer, this full moon is putting creativity and self-expression into the spotlight. And this is a time when you need to really be you. Now, Cancer, what does personality mean to you? What is persona? What does identity mean to you? This is a part of your chart that really wants to put its stamp on things. So what are you putting your name on? How are you revealing yourself? Maybe Cancer, you don't always want to put yourself out there. So there's a sense of like discomfort, like, oh, like what happens when I put myself out there, if people see me, but really also prioritizing fun and leisure at this time as much as you can. Leo, now it's time for you. This full moon is about home and family. So this full moon, this is a time of your personal calendar when normally you could make a decision about moving, and maybe that might be relevant to you. But it kind of gets to this bigger question of where's home? Where do you want to plant down roots? How are you taking care of your living environment? So maybe in different times and different circumstances when there's a little bit more mobility, this would be a perfect time to make a decision about where you want to live and also making that move. But it's also a time when family might need your attention right now, and also a partnership or somebody close in your life might need your attention right now. But there's kind of this deeper question of like, what is going to fulfill you right now and give you the emotional stability that you need? Moving on to Virgo. So this is the part of your chart that talks about how you communicate, how you think, how you learn, how you move. Normally this would be a time of travel. In fact, your travel signs, Virgo, right now are being activated. So, maybe you're seeing movement in your own way. A full moon brings a sense of decision about maybe your education, Maybe you're taking classes. Maybe you're really sort of needing to feed your curiosity at this time if you're spending a time alone or if you're kind of in restriction or social distancing. Maybe you're reading a lot. Maybe you're taking an online class. Maybe things are starting to move and shift in your world and you can go out for a walk and you can kind of get out into your neighborhood. The full moon does also bring in information. So there's a sense of like you're receiving news or potentially receiving news at this time. Moving on to, I just did Leo, Virgo, Libra. So this is the part of your chart that talks about money, how you earn it, how you spend it, what you need, what you put your value on, the resources that you have. So the Scorpio full moon is sort of kind of getting to the heart of these kind of deeper questions about resource and wealth and what do you have access to, and if things have been shaking in your world, for instance, with some of the changes in kind of the collective in the world, how has that impacted your sense of safety and stability? Do you have what you need right now? So you might need to make some decisions about getting what you need right now in some form or another. You might need to make a decision about how you earn a living, and if there's been some changes, and you might need to make some big changes in order to react to what's going on in the world. Scorpio, you are in the spotlight with this full moon. So this is a time when naturally all eyes are on you. You're needing to step up, be a leader, take action. This, by the way, this full moon is pointing towards home and family with Mars and Aquarius. So maybe you're, needing to take action or be a leader or step up with a family member, or also people who are like family, people who are in your inner circle. There's a need to emotionally connect at this time. So, one of the things about Scorpio is that they're great in a crisis. They can generally, kind of put people at ease, kind of create a sense of calm, and to steer people forward. So maybe you're having to step up and sort of calm people and be the voice of reason at this time and be that steady hand. Nevertheless, see what's happening and how you are sort of in the spotlight right now, Scorpio. Moving on to Sagittarius, this part of your chart talks about spirituality, meditation. This part of the chart's very interesting because it sort of bridges the world, meaning the world that we know and we can see and the world that we can't see, the one life and another. So this is a time when you're being sort of pulling within yourself. You're searching yourself for answers. Sagittarius, you're a sign that just in general has the answers. You're always learning. You always just know things. You're soaking up your environment. You have an opinion. But sometimes we need to go deep within to consult our internal compass. And so this is a time to get very quiet, to really prioritize meditation or some sort of spiritual practice. Also, this is a great full moon to let something go. An old habit, an old addiction, something that you don't want to bring with you into, let's say, the next chapter. Now, if you have this luxury, of course, and pandemic has you spending more alone time or have the ability to sort of let things go and like not bring them with you into this time after, then really use this full moon to do your release and transformation work. Capricorn, this is the part of your chart that talks about friends, community, the people that are in your social network and your social circle. So this is a time to really reach out to friends to see how they're doing, especially if a friend is in need with everything that is going on in the world. It's a time when you really need to prioritize group. So I know that I had this conversation just earlier with a client, how just kind of the nature of everything that's going on and the nature of everything that's going on in her internal world, she feels a bit alone. So what sort of this full moon, like how do we forge community at this time, especially when we can't readily move or go out? So really, like I said, reaching out to a friend or organizing something or trying to find allies and community at this time. Moving on to Aquarius. So Scorpio is Aquarius's career sign. So this full moon is really putting career in the spotlight. And we're in this sort of bigger sense of what direction are you going in? How do you steer your personal ship? What are the responsibilities that you need to step into or being asked to step into? So this is a time when you have to make some decisions about your path in life, and also your ambitions. And normally in normal times, this would be a great time to get a new job. You sort of have the eyes on you right now. So hopefully if you need that work, this full moon will really help you get that connection right now. But it's really sort of, Aquarius is in this place in its life where sort of the tectonic plates are shifting a bit. So this full moon is hopefully trying to help you see the bigger picture and to figure out where you really want to go down the line, because Aquarius is a very big picture sign. Pisces. So this is the part of the chart that talks about more like philosophy and faith and truth and meaning. Now, Pisces, you're a very philosophical sign in general. So this is a time when you need to sort of seek out answers. And those answers could be in a book, they can be in a class, this could be answers within religion or other different ways of seeing the world. A very worldly full moon for you. And of course, this would normally be a time to pack your bags and to go on a long distance trip, but that's probably not going to happen. So maybe you're sort of feeding that energy by planning a future trip. Looking at a travel documentary or reading about, something philosophical, something that's really going to feed you within, because, Pisces, you're in a little bit of an existential time. You're searching for answers. You're looking within, you're looking without, you're searching your soul. You're like, what does this all mean? So this is a time for you to really fuel and to feed these deeper existential longings and questionings right now, Pisces. So Kristen asks if I'm going to repost this. She missed Gemini. Yes, you can always watch the replay on the video section of my Facebook page of Empowering Astrology. I do repost this on empoweringastrology.com. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on IGTV. It's on all the things. So if you missed your sign, don't worry. You can go back and listen to it. Tomorrow on my website and on Facebook, I'm going to post Wednesday, I'm going to post my full moon in Scorpio report, so you can get a little bit of a deeper dive on what this full moon is bringing up for you. Of course, the things that I talked about with the 12 signs are giving you some little guideposts for how this energy is going to manifest. I'm just checking on the comments. Sue says, thank you. This is spot on for Aquarius. Again, read your May horoscopes. It's going to give you a little bit of a bigger picture for what's going on this month. And of course, you can always book a consultation with me if you want to get even deeper. I see some familiar faces on the chat. I see some clients. Always good to reconnect with you. I want to share a little bit more about what I'm up to. I've also paired with a very good friend of mine, Marina Becker of Terra Minerals. She sells crystals, which I love crystals, but we are joining forces with other healers to create more of a collective. So we're in the sort of the beta stages of what this is. It's called the Terra Collective. So it's a membership portal. We're going to be creating content, astrology content for crystals, content for healing, Reiki, chakras, all that stuff, meditation. And so I'm going to put the link in the show notes, which I will do afterwards. But it's also in my most recent update, Satera Collective. So I'm going to be talking about that throughout the week. We're sort of giving people some access to some of the things that we're doing for now as a test. And then we're going to make this more of a full membership portal at the end of the month. So I know I've got my I'm kind of involved in a lot of different things. I have a Gemini moon, so I'm always doing about 15 million things. But there's a lot that's going on in May, and so we're sort of getting ready for eclipse season. So eclipse season means that the stage of our life, the curtain, is about to come down, and it means that a new act or a new scene is going to begin. So May is sort of getting us ready for that new scene. But in the meantime, I really hope that you all are keeping well, you're taking care of yourself, I know it's a bit of a funky time, and I know we're all restless. So I know that with the nodes moving into Gemini, something's moving. We'll see what's moving. So I'm just going to take a Sharon says bring it in. Yes. I'm just kind of checking in with the comments. Thank you all I see some very familiar faces, and I really do appreciate all of your support at this time, especially those who have been really reaching out to me and seeing how I'm doing or booking a consultation. So again, my name is Katie Sweetman. I am an astrologer and psychic medium in Brooklyn, New York, and my work is empowering astrology. You can find me online at empoweringastrology.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm going to start putting more videos on YouTube, on my Empowering Astrology channel on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, Empowering Astrology. I'm on Instagram at Empowering Astro. You can also find me on Twitter as well. Again, thank you all so much. This is a privilege and an honor to be able to connect with you every week. I look forward to talking next week. Until then, stay safe, and we will be in touch. All right. Bye. Thanks, Janet.